And hello, good morning. Happy Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday today. And today I want to talk about a really effective way to grab your audience attention, captivate them, influence them, and then that will change their decisions that they make. And there's 4 key ingredients that you need to have that. So stay tuned. This is going to be a really good one for Wisdom Wednesday. So if you're joining me live, please say hello. Tell me where you're coming from. And if you're on the replay, let me know that too. And if we haven't met before, my name is Dodd, and I'm here to inspire, encourage, train you whatever way I can so that you can bring your business online and leverage the power of social media so that you can do everything that you want to do. Awesome. So today's topic is really interesting, and I'm really engaged in it. It's something that I'm striving towards, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's all based on a book that I'm reading, and I'm really enjoying that book. So what is it all about? It is stories, and stay tuned because I have a couple of little snippets of really interesting stories to make my information impactful. And the book that I'm reading is, I'm sorry it's backwards, but my phone doesn't go the other way. It's Stories That Stick by Kendall Hall. And the wonderful part about that is that there's information in there, but interspersed within the information is stories to emphasize the point that she's trying to make. And so that's exactly the point that I want to make, is that when you influence or when you put in stories to what you want to say, then people are engaged and they can't put the book down. They want to stay interested. They want to see what happens. And it's like Mary Poppins and having your medicine with a spoonful of sugar. You don't notice the medicine, you don't notice the facts because of the sugar, because of the story. So it makes it wonderful. You're gaining the information in such an easy way, and you're engaged because it's a story and you're captivated. But there are some ingredients to telling a story to make an effective story and not just a timeline. And that's what I want to share with you today. So, and I've already started. Okay, so there's lots of noise out there on social media, right? So how do we stand out? And we stand out by telling a story, by getting into the emotions of things. So you need to first captivate your audience, get their attention, and then influence them. And you do that by having value and by telling a story and getting into their emotion, which is the big thing. And then after that, then there's a know, like, and trust, and of course, so that you can have an impact. And I have lots of 2 pages of notes here today, and I'm going to go through it quickly because I want to keep this short, but that's why I have these papers flapping around here. So we want to use all those 3 together. We don't have to do it individually. So, but it is very hard to get attention on social media. People scroll through their news feed. So how do we captivate it? And that's by telling stories. And how do we tell good stories? So it's not just, a timeline. I did this and then I did that and then I did that. Boring. That's kind of like a list. We need to tap into that feeling, into that emotion. That's why we go to movies, right? We're on a journey with this person. We're on a journey of the story, the ups and the downs, not just the ending. We want to know everything that happens along the way. So that's what it's all about. Okay, so in the framework, there's 3 things that are going to happen. First of all, you have how things are now, the normal. The book calls it the normal. And how things are. So the backstory, what are your customers, prospects, problems? What pains are they feeling? How do they feel? What's impacting their life? What matters? Whether it's small, little snippets of things. It kind of sets the tone. And then the second part is what happened. the book calls it the explosion, things that changed. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be small, it could be big. You know, what changed? There was something. And then the third part is then the new normal. How are things different? What's the moral of the story? Are they wiser? You know, are they still improving? Are they stronger? So, you know, what's the experience? Maybe it's a call to action. So that's the framework. The normal, the change, and then the new normal. Okay, so now within that framework, there's 4 essential ingredients that you need to have. And the first one is a character. And this is an actual character. Someone that your audience can relate to, like one particular person. Okay, now here's a wonderful example. So in the book, she talks about, there's 4 types of stories she talks about in the book, and this is the value one. So this is perfect for customers and prospecting and marketing and that kind of thing. So the example is Apple, you know, wanting to do an ad. And so, you know, do they list out the features and all that kind of thing? And so the challenge was not to talk about the features. The list of features, you know, the benefits and all that kind of thing, it's boring. So they needed a story. So the story was, it was Christmas time, and there was a family, and the family had a teenage boy. Now the teenage boy is the main character here. So lots of detail on the boy. So they go to the grandparents' house, and he's distant. He doesn't do the hug, you know, when everybody greets and that kind of thing. He spends, you know, the entire time on his phone with his head down on the phone. And so it's Christmas morning, and everyone's, you know, unwrapping gifts, and he's still detached. And then he gets up and he turns on the TV. And that is the moment when people go, what are you doing? Everyone is engaged here. You know, it's Christmas morning, opening gifts. And then the teenager, once the TV is on, he turns on the movie, and it's the family. So the entire time he was on his phone, he was taking movies of the family, and now the family is on the TV and captivating, you know, capturing all those moments. And so that's the pivotal change. That's that moment that changed. He wasn't totally detached. He was actually engaged, but doing it in his own way. So that's the characters. So just a little bit of a story in there. So that's the first ingredient that you need to have, is the character. And so in that example, it was the boy in the Christmas scene. And then number 2 is the authentic emotion. So it's not just the timeline, but, you know, it's that struggle, the obstacles, you know, the tears, the frustration, the curiosity. You know, what was that feeling in the moment? Another really quick example from this book is a woman wanted to had a photography studio and wanted to do a Mother's Day special, and she, you know, did all the factual types of ads, and she wasn't getting any business at all. And so then she thought, okay, well, I'm going to put a story in there. And her story was about how she was looking for some pictures of her own grandmother. Her grandmother had passed, and she couldn't find any pictures, and she wished that she had had some pictures of her grandmother when she was alive. And she told that story as an ad, and then that brought in people, is to capture the moment now while you can. And so, I mean, I just get tingles, you know, thinking about that story. So you have that feeling, that emotion of the loss if you don't act on it right now. So that's huge. So we have a character, and we have some emotion, and then we have that significant moment. You know, for the Apple story, it was the boy when he turned on the TV. That was that significant moment. So zooming in on that moment, that detail, vivid details of that actual moment, so that it brings out that emotion. So that's number 3. And number 4 is the specific details. So actually honing in on the imagery, the senses, that, that's where the connection is, where you really draw in your audience. And so this scene is so familiar to your audience that your audience says, I get that. That's me. I've been there before. And that's when that connection happens. That's that magical moment. So people are captivated in the story. It's like not being able to put the book down. So those 4 things again is having an actual character, authentic emotion, really honing in on the emotion, and significant moment of change, and then the specific details. And so this is key in our business, because I've done ads and they keep telling me, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. And I'm just starting to get it now that, okay, I've got to have all these components in there to really make a good story. It's not just the timeline, which is, kind of what I've been doing before, but now I want to really start honing in on, these characteristics, these 4 essential ingredients to a story. Because you can't make an impact if you can't get their attention, right? So that's a key statement. You have to get their attention in order to make a statement. So using stories as much as possible in your lives, in your posts, whatever it is, your conversations, it's something that's going to help you in the long run, to have those essential components to be impactful. And then also that we're also honing in on the problem and not the product. Because remember that people don't buy a thing, they buy what the thing does for you. So another example of that, a little story, is you have a knight, right? Like a knight in shining armor on a white horse, and a dragon. And so the knight slays the dragon with the sword, but so the character is the knight, and the sword, of course, is the product. But without the knight, you just have a piece of metal, right? So you need the knight, the character, in order to bring the sword to life, to put it into action. So it's not about the product, it's about what the product does. So stories are such an effective way, to really take your business to the next level. So start focusing on stories, and it doesn't have to be your story too, because if you don't have a lot of success that you can talk about, you can also talk about other people's stories. So there's always room for something in there. So I hope this has been helpful. So quick summary is the framework is there was a normal, there is a past, then there was something that changed, and then there's a new normal. And the 4 essential ingredients are character, authentic emotion, significant moment, and then the specific details. So I hope that's been helpful, and it certainly is a fun topic, and I'm certainly enjoying it. So, all right. If you've found some value in that, please let me know. And if you know anybody who could benefit from this, feel free to move this along to them. And if you want to be notified when I go live again, there's 3 dots at the top. If you click on that and set your notifications, I usually go live Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, Pacific time around 9 o'clock in Pacific time in Canada, in British Columbia. So until the next time, have a wonderful day, whatever part of the day it is for you. And until then, enjoy. Bye for now.